everyone, it's Stephanie here and welcome back to the My Favorite Things YouTube channel. In today's video, we are going to be using some new products from the February release, and I'm going to be using this musical notes background stamp. This is a fun kind of bouncy design of sheet music. And then I'm also going to be using the Jungle Vibes stamp set to do some image stamping. And then we are going to make the star of the show the gift card window and frame die, as well as our new gift card shaker pouches. So these fit gift cards perfectly, and I decided I would do an iTunes gift card because I thought it kind of played nicely with the musical notes as well as the Jungle Vibes stamp set. So the first thing I want to do is I want to create a panel that I'm going to have some stamping and some heat embossing on. So I'm going to stamp the musical notes background right onto this panel. And I've used Versamark ink to do the stamping, which is just a clear sticky ink. And this is going to allow me to put some embossing powder on here. So I have some Wow Opaque white embossing powder. And I'm just putting that all over the panel so it completely sticks to all of that stamping that we did. And then I took it off screen and heat set it with my heat tool. So now that embossing is all heat set and we can start to apply some ink to that panel. And that's going to allow us to create an emboss resist effect where we have the fun colors of ink in the background, but we're going to be able to see that music note design kind of peeking through the distress inks. So I wanted to stay with colors that are kind of similar to the iTunes card. This is definitely kind of a colorful card with the green and the really bright purple. So it's not that easy to kind of match stuff to it. So I decided to kind of go with greens and some aqua blues and actually finish with a tiny bit of purple at the very top. And I felt like this would blend nicely with that card. And I'm also going to show you another way when we get a little bit farther in the video to kind of tone down the card since it is super bright green. I didn't want it to be so obvious on the card, so we will tone that down a bit as well. So for the inking on the panel, I started with Mowed Lawn at the very bottom, which is pretty close to the color of the gift card. And then I let that fade off into some Twisted Citron. Then I moved on to Cracked Pistachio, which is kind of like a minty aqua green color. And then I'm going to fade that one into Peacock Feathers. Now, Peacock Feathers is a little bit darker than the Cracked Pistachio, so I was very careful not to put too much ink down because I wanted it to have a nice blend. And then at the very top, I decided to bring in some Seedless Preserves, which is a very dark purple, but if you apply it with just a little bit of pressure, you don't get it super dark, and it blends really nicely with the Peacock Feathers. So I added that to the top just a little bit, not too much, and then I just blended in the Peacock Feathers once again to really even out that color. Once I had all of the ink blending done, I took a paper towel and kind of just wiped the top of that panel, and that just takes some of that extra ink off of the embossing powder that may just be kind of sitting on top there. And then I'm going to run this through my die cutting machine with an A2 Stitch Rectangle Stack Set 2, the largest from that set, and that's going to give us a nice finished edge. Now to create the window in the card front for the gift card to peek through, we're going to use the gift card window and frame die, so I'm using the window die from this set. And I need to have my panel and my card base both die cut at the same time, which is just going to ensure that everything lines up properly. So I'm adhering the panel to the front of the card base with adhesive just around the outside edge since I'm going to be die cutting through the center. I'm opening up the card so I don't cut through the back. And then I'm just running that through my die cutting machine. And what I'm left with is this window opening that is going to allow our gift card to peek through from the inside of the card. Now for the actual gift card pouch, I want this to be adhered on the inside of the card, so on the bottom of the card base. I don't want this to actually be adhered into the opening. I want to be able to have that window open when we open the card and the gift card be inside of the actual finished card. So I added some 1/8 inch score tape to the bottom of that pouch, and I'm just kind of positioning everything to see how I like it. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the pouch. I don't have it adhered yet. And I'm going to die cut the back of the card base with the Essential Rip Strips Die-namics. And what this is going to do is it's going to allow the recipient of the card to be able to rip open this rip strip and easily remove the gift card from the finished card. It just kind of helps preventing having to rip that pouch completely off from the inside. Now, as I mentioned earlier, I thought the gift card was a little bit too bright, so I decided to tone it down a bit. And to do that, what I did is I just laid it over top of a piece of vellum, and I'm using my scissors and just trimming around the gift card so I have a piece of vellum that's the exact same size and shape. And I'm just going to put this into the pouch over top of the gift card. And this just kind of takes that green and mutes it down a bit so that it's not so obvious on the card. And it lets the background and the other elements we're going to add stand out on the finished card. So what I'm doing now is I'm just adding some clear sequins and a bunch of little tiny seed beads. These are the tiniest little things ever and they kind of go everywhere. But I thought it would be fun to have a little bit of shaker mix inside with the gift card rather than just have the gift card. So I very carefully positioned everything on that vellum. I took the adhesive backing off of the pouch and positioned it in the window so I know everything's going to line up. And then I very carefully closed the card, made sure the gift card was inside the area where the gift card pouch was, and then I adhered that completely down. So now I have this great window on the front. I have the gift card adhered on the inside with the fun shaker material inside of it, and then I have the rip strip on the back. Now, because you can see all the adhesive on the inside of the card, I definitely wanted to put another panel in there just to kind of give it a finished look. So I'm taking another stitch panel and I'm cutting the opening from that. And I just used my pencil to create the kind of the outline so I knew exactly where to put that opening. And then I'm going to adhere this right onto the inside of the card. And this is going to cover all of that adhesive and just give me a really finished look and allow me some area to write a message. So now comes the part where we're going to add some images to this set. So I wanted to use these two zebras from the Jungle Vibe stamp set. I thought they were super cute and I love the little guitars that they're playing. So I decided to stamp both of these with extreme black ink onto some white cardstock. And I'm just using some warm gray Copic markers to color these in. Now I was trying to remember to keep my lids up so you could see what colors I was using, but I kind of forgot as I went. But I just used W2, 4, and 6 and a little bit of W0 for the really lightest areas. And I just kind of added color to these zebras, keeping them pretty light in color. I didn't really even add black to them. I just have the W6, I believe, is the darkest gray I use on them. And I like kind of the muted look of them because we have so much color and different things happening on this card that I didn't really want to have a whole bunch more color competing with everything else in the images. So I kept the zebras completely gray and white, and then I added some color to both of their guitars with some E's. So I have E42, 43, and 44, which is just a really nice brown combination. So I added a little bit of the lightest color to both of the guitars first, and then I added the darker and medium colors to blend that out and give them a little bit of shading and dimension. And then once I have the coloring finished, I'm just using the coordinating dies and I'm die cutting both of these images out. And then I'm going to work on the sentiment strip. So I have just a piece of white cardstock that I've trimmed down with my paper trimmer. And I'm stamping the Sending Happy Birthday Vibes. I thought that was going to work well with the overall theme of the card. And I'm just cutting off the end of that to give it a slanted end and figuring out exactly how long I need this to be. I'm adding the largest zebra to the sentiment strip, so I'm just adding a bit of adhesive at the front there, and then I'm going to position him on, and then I'm just going to use my scissors and cut off the excess so that I don't have any of that sentiment banner peeking out on the left side. And then to add him on, I have some foam tape on the side of him that's going to kind of be on the edge of the gift pouch. And then I also have some on the very end, at the other end of the sentiment strip. And you just want to make sure that you have your foam tape high enough that this isn't going to interfere with the gift card pouch that pops up through the window, since there is some dimension there. So I have 2 layers of the foam squares, and that worked perfectly to make sure that my zebra and my sentiment strip was high enough off the card that it didn't interfere with that pouch. Now for the second zebra, I'm just adhering him directly to the shaker pouch with some regular adhesive so that he's kind of peeking out from the sentiment banner. But when you open the card, he is still on the inside and he's sitting right on top of that pouch. And then we have that rip strip on the back, which is going to allow the recipient to open it up to get out the gift card and all of that fun seed beads and glitter. So I hope you enjoyed today's card. It was a lot of fun to create. There are so many different ways that you can use this new gift card window and frame die with the pouches. I can't wait to see what you guys create with them, and I will see you in another video soon. Thanks for watching.